Hey there, I'm Kathleen. Welcome to my channel. As a transition strategist, I help women, primarily high achieving Black women, navigate life and career transitions without unnecessary chaos. So you can align your life and career with your values. And honestly, sometimes unnecessary chaos shows up because a lot of people don't realize that they're in a transition until they're already deep in it. And it's not the dramatic kind of transition where you quit your job or move across the country or have a major crisis. It's the quiet kind. It's the kind that starts with a whisper, a gentle nudge, a voice saying, "This ain't it." And for me, that moment came when I realized that I was not going to meet someone's expectations, someone in a position of power. And I was okay with that. That was a few years ago. And at the time, I didn't recognize that it was the start of a major shift. So in this video, we're going to unpack how to know if you might be in transition, even if nothing looks wrong on the surface. So here's the thing. A lot of Black women, especially high achieving, high performing Black women, don't realize that they're in a transition because they're still performing. They're still holding it together for everybody else. They're still checking off the boxes. They're still, trying to reach goals that they might not even want anymore. And something inside them feels kind of off. They might love what they do, but they might feel unfulfilled. And we've been conditioned to wait until we have a breakdown or until we burn out before we give ourselves permission to shift. But change doesn't always announce itself like that. And this video is your reminder that if something feels off, if something feels like it's shifting, it probably is. So let's talk about some of those signs. So the first sign is that what used to be manageable now is a no, and absolutely not. Maybe it's your job. Maybe it's a relationship. Maybe it's your schedule. Before you didn't question it, but now your body tightens up, feels tense when that thing comes up. For me, it was being the only Black woman on a team of more than 200. Now, I had been the only Black woman before. Like, I went to a PWI. My high school was primarily white. So it's not that I was uncomfortable being the only, but this specific time, it didn't feel sustainable. That was the first time I was the only Black woman on a team that large. And to be clear, I don't actually like being the only in a room, but I see that as an opportunity to bring other Black women with me into that space. But in this specific environment, I didn't want to set anyone up. The people there in general had a lot of blind spots. And I'm gonna just leave it at that. Another sign that there might be a gentle whisper telling you that it's time to shift is that you're not motivated by the same things anymore. The things that used to excite you, now they drain you. That doesn't mean you're lazy. It means that you're evolving. I started realizing that I didn't want to climb a traditional corporate ladder that never had me in mind. And the more I heal, the less ambitious I am to achieve some of the things that we as women, especially, have been conditioned to want. I have no desire to be a leader or in a leadership role in corporate. What I truly want is freedom, intention, and impact on my terms. Now, I know how to play the corporate game. I just don't want to anymore. And then the third sign is that you start making decisions with your future self in mind. You're still doing the work, but now you're thinking about how you can apply what you're doing now for the future. So you might be getting new skills or paying closer attention or slowly preparing for something else, even if you don't know what the full vision is yet. So for me, when I realized I couldn't stay in that job long term, the job where I was the only Black woman on a team of more than 200, I made a choice. I said, I'm going to learn everything I can in terms of, certain skills, operating a business, all those types of things, so that when it's time for me to leave, I'll be ready to branch out on my own. I want to share with you 3 steps for how you can check in with yourself if you think you might be in a transition. So step one is to start paying attention to your patterns. What's starting to feel heavy? What no longer aligns with who you are today or who you want to be in the future? I've worked with a life coach, and she told me to pay attention to the things that energize me versus the things that drain me. And I started to realize that things that used to energize me no longer did. Now they drained me. And so pay attention to those cues that your body is telling you, because your body is talking. Another step is to name the whisper or the nudge or that feeling. It doesn't have to be a major crisis. If something feels off, it's enough to say, this feels off. That's where clarity starts. In some of my past transitions that were kind of chaotic, it was because I didn't see it coming and I stayed stuck for too long. Because I didn't see it coming, I'm like, why is this happening? Why is this happening? And I stayed in that why is this happening for too long, that it made some of those transitions a little bit chaotic. But now I move through transitions without unnecessary chaos, because the moment something feels off, I start checking in with myself. And I ask myself two questions. I ask, what is it that I want? Right? Because if I'm starting to feel off, it's because something is off. So what do I want? And what effort am I willing to make for that thing to come to pass? As long as it's for my good, right? So what do I want and what effort am I willing to make? Those are the two questions that I ask myself. And then the third thing you can do to check in with yourself if you think you might be in a transition is to make micro moves. Like after you name the thing, start making small steps. You don't need to overhaul your life overnight. Small aligned steps like learning a new skill, setting a boundary or changing a boundary, or even rethinking your goals, those are all steps that you can move forward. So for me, while I was in corporate, I knew someday I would work for myself and I knew that I would be a service provider. I wasn't really sure what the service would be, but I just knew I will one day be of service to others. And so in a previous job, there was a situation when I realized like I will never meet this person's expectations. And about a year after that is when the idea came to me for my business. But then it took another 9 months from that point for me to be able to articulate my expertise. But taking small steps, they do add up and will help you move the needle. As much as I hate that phrase, it's true. And because I was taking those small steps forward, I was being strategic towards the life and career that's aligned with my values. For reflection, I want you to take a moment and ask yourself, is there something that I have outgrown? Is there something that I have outgrown? Am I ready for what's next? Because that space in between is a transition. You're not lost, you're shifting. And once you become aware of that, that alone is powerful. So for me, once I started gaslighting myself and started trusting what I felt, that I know this is off feeling, everything got more clear. And so if any of that resonated with you, let me know in the comments. Are you in a quiet transition right now? What signs have you noticed? Subscribe to my channel so that you'll be the first to know when new videos drop, and share this with someone who might be questioning everything lately. If you want to read the full story about my transition moment, check out my blog. The link's below in the description. I go a lot deeper into this experience and what the lessons taught me. You don't have to wait for chaos to change. You don't have to wait for clarity to start moving. Change doesn't always announce itself. Sometimes it just taps you on the shoulder, and that's enough. See you next time. Thanks for watching.